Origin of communism. Communism was originally the political thought that concentrated on the liberation of the proletariat, or the working class. The idea for communism, although well known before them, officially started with both Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels in the Communist Manifesto, where they outlined their idea of complete equality between the people. Definition of communism. Communism means the political and economic doctrine that aims to replace private property and a profit-based economy with public ownership and communal control of at least the major means of production. Example: mines, mills, and factories, and the natural resources of a society. Communism is thus a form of socialism, a higher and more advanced form, according to its advocates. Exactly how communism differs from socialism has long been a matter of debate, but the distinction rests largely on the communists' adherence to the revolutionary socialism of Karl Marx. The most important fact to understand about the economics of communism is that communist revolutions triumphed only in heavily agricultural societies. Government ownership of the means of production could not, therefore, be achieved by the expropriating a few industrialists.
Types of communism. Anarcho-communism feels that the proletariat must liberate itself from capitalist oppression and smash the state. Further, anarcho-communists believe that a workers' state should not be established. As anarchists define the state only as ruled by a minority. Hence, according to anarchists, it will be impossible for a majority class to control a state. Anarcho-communists also feel that the abolition of money is very important and should take place as soon as possible. Left communists. Like anarchists, they believe that the proletariat itself must liberate itself from capitalist oppression and must smash the capitalist state. Left communists believe that the proletariat must establish a workers' state. However, as to ensure rule by the entirety of the class, left communists propose that the workers' state must be a direct democracy based on workers' councils. These councils will be composed of elected and recallable delegates. The difference with anarchism is merely a difference in definition. Marxism, Leninism, Trotskyism. Trotskyism followed Marxism as well as the contributions of Lenin and Trotsky to Marxist theory. They believe in the vanguard party as the advanced element of the proletariat that will lead the class in the revolution. Trotskyism also implies workers' democracy and class rule. However, unlike left communists, Trotskyists do believe in participating in bourgeois elections, working in the unions, and the necessity of a vanguard party. Stalinism claims to follow Marx and Lenin but virtually ignores everything greater but them that emphasizes democracy and class rule. Follows the theory of socialism in one country that claims that socialism can exist in one nation before it becomes international. Maoism basically the same as Stalinism, but places more emphasis on the peasantry and guerrilla warfare. Those are the main branches of communism. Those definitions are based partly on my opinion, so some people may disagree with some of them. I am filtering between left communism and Trotskyism at the moment.
Criticism of the communism. An incomplete ideology. Marx and Engels never dedicate much work to show how exactly a communist economy will function in practice, leaving socialist a negative ideology. The assumption that human nature is completely determined by the environment. Some communists, including Trotsky, believed that all the social, political, and intellectual life processes in general are conditioned by the socio-economic base and the mode of production of material life, which rather devalues humanity and the importance of the lives and rights of human beings. The theory is not scientifically rigorous. The theory of historical materialism, although initially genuinely degenerate into seducency and dogma when predictions were not borne out and ad hoc. Adaptations and revisions had to be made to fit the facts. Some critics have also argued that, if anything, the older utopian socialists were more scientific in their approach than Marx, in that at least their attempts to set up socialist communes followed the scientific methods of experimentations, hypotheses, and testings, whereas Marxism was just an untestable and hence unscientist project. Anarchist criticisms. Many anarchists and liberation socialists reject the need for a transitory state pace and often criticize Marxism and communism for being too authoritarian. Some anarcho-primitivists reject left-wing politics in general, seeing it as corrupt and claiming that civilization is unreformable.
Characteristics of communism. All economic decisions are made by the government. Central planet. The government owns most introduced and factors. The government provides salaries and some basic needs for the people. The government decides what to produce, how to produce it, who to produce it for. All decisions are made for the purpose of promoting social goals for the good or society. Most countries that have a communism economic system also have a communism government. Cuba is an example of a country with a communism economic system. People are equal. In a communism regime, people are treated equally in the eyes of the government, regardless of education. Every citizen can keep a job. There is an internal stable economic system. In a communism, the government dictates economic structure, therefore economic instability is out of the question. A strong social communism are established. In communism, there are central laws and goals which determine resources and responsibility allocations. Competition doesn't exist. Efficient distribution of resources. In a communism society, this sense of cooperation allows for efficiency in resource distribution. Advance and disadvantages of communism. Advance. Some benefits of communism help with its strong and development. Disadvantages or benefits can describe as efficient distribution or resources. Equality establishes of strong communities. Every citizen has a job. Internally stable economic system. No competition. Disadvantage of communism. The disadvantage work against a nation's development. Disadvantages of communism can be elaborated as follows. Central state
authority, holds all means of production, ever-changing principles, no individual freedom, relied on violence and terror, worked straight alike machines.